Who is Joe Schofield? What does he do?
Joe Schofield, at his heart, is a filmmaker. Um, Outside of that, I enjoy competing in strongman, and then I enjoy like Bitcoin and other stuff like that. But at my heart, like someone says, "Who am I?" I'm a filmmaker. It's not my job role, official strongman, like creative director. What does that mean? But who I am as a person, I just want to make films for the rest of my life.
Good. So this is going to be slightly different to the ones that I've done previous. So what I'll do is I'll talk about sort of your life as a whole with cameras, if that makes sense. So going back to your earliest memory of either your first camera or your first time where you actually can remember thinking this is something that you wanted to do or play with or experiment with. What is your earliest memory?
My mum told me a story the other day from well, she loves this story. This is when she thought I was going to be something to do with photography. It was 2000. What must it have been? Like 2003. So I was 8 years old in my mum's story, and I was like running across this wall, and I was telling her, "Mum, take a picture of me." And then I'd like do this, and I'd take another step and do that. And what I was doing I was making a little stop motion thing. I didn't know how it worked then, so I wasn't sure what was going on. I took like a couple of pictures. Now that now doing that, I know that you at least need 24 pictures for 1 second of footage. Back then, obviously, you don't know that. But that's when she first saw something in me that was like, "Oh, he's got an interest for this." For me personally, I just kind of brushed it off as like I just, as a kid, being kid stuff. It wasn't until I was about 12 years old, 13 maybe, started doing parkour, freeing with my friends. And part of that culture is making videos. So, like everyone in the group, I think, at one point made videos or they tried to make a video. But for me, I did it. I was like, wow, I actually really enjoy this. And it's like you don't register it as a passion. I don't think when you're that young. It's just like, this is something I enjoy doing and you do it. And it wasn't until well, to be fair, that was maybe year 8, and then in year 9, I was like, I'm gonna have to choose my GCSEs to let me to do media at sixth form, to then me to go on to university to study it there. So I've been wanting to do this since, like even educationally, since I was like 13 years old.
So it's quite good that you had a plan even back then, because I think most kids, including myself, didn't have a clue what you wanted to do or what was out there at that stage. So when you were filming the parkour, is it parkour?
Parkour, free running, yeah, whatever.
What was you filming on? Where did you get the camera? What was you sort of putting it on to then? What was you doing with that filming? Was you editing it or was you just putting it all out as one film?
No, everything got edited. I don't think anything went out ever raw.
What was your editing on back?
It started on Movie Maker.
Yeah.
And that was just like what's there, and then went on to Sony Vegas, which was a great starting platform. It was always fun trying to keygen that, and you get this little, I don't know if you know what keygen is. It's basically something that generates little software keys, so you can torrent basically the service. But they had this little fun, funky music on there, so sometimes I'd just leave that playing. It was like this weird little tune to play. And then I got onto Premiere Pro.
So you're putting these on YouTube?
Yeah.
Were you going big? Were you getting followers and that?
Not really, no, nothing.
You do see a lot of them videos flying about, and they are quite.
I mean, there were some people I did it with that were a lot better than me that would have got more views, just like doing insane flips and tricks and stuff. For me, I don't know, we got a couple hundred views, a couple of thousand views here, maybe. Just.
What was like the most dangerous one you've done? Anything that sticks out in your mind that you like that was?
No, I mean, it was. I don't think the most dangerous. A lot of it came with risk. I've missed your question as well about what I filmed on. We'll get back to that.
Oh, yeah.
What was the most dangerous? I don't know. You just run up a roof and then just jump off it onto the floor and you do like 2-story jumps and just like random bullshit like that. What did I film on? I filmed on like whatever. There was a little point and shoot camera in my family. I'm not sure if it was ever mine, but I used that. Maybe I got my own point and shoot at one point. My friends, if their family had a camera, would take that with us. And then I remember getting my first car still in my bedroom. I remember I super glued a UV filter onto the front of it and then got a fisheye that screwed into there. So I've got this little, like really little old school handy camcorder with a glued on fisheye in the front of it. Just because it wasn't wide enough back then.
What year was that? Because I'm thinking when I was sort of, when I was like 16, like not even camera phones are out.
Yeah.
Then. So was that out with camera phones? Obviously they wouldn't have.
This would have been 2010, 2011, I think.
Oh, right, so they were
2009, 2010, yeah. I was in year 10 probably.
Right. So was you into sport in school?
Yeah, I never did much clubs. My dad always worked away a lot. My mum didn't drive, so I'd never had the luxury of being able to be taken to other clubs. I did football all the way through high school, despite how bad I was at it. Played rugby in kind of year 11 and moved to play for the local club around here when I was in sixth form and up until like, I've only played for like 4 years to be fair at club level. But I was always very sporty and active, and like I was always jumping around and climbing stuff, which is what led me into parkour, because it's like, okay, that's all that is basically. So I was just always very sporty and active.
So when you was going through school and you were
Sporty and active, then not sportive and active.
when you was going through school then and come to the end of school for GCSEs and stuff, what did you? I can't remember if you said it before. Did you have to take something specific, like I take it like the maths, English, science? Maybe?
I did, yeah, but it wasn't what I thought. The media course at my sixth form was media studies, and I never associated studies to be like English. So when I got my GCSE results, went to sixth form, they were like, "Oh, you need two Bs in English," and I'm like, well, "That makes no sense." I chose IT, thinking my thought process was, right, I make videos now on computers, I do IT, and then I can go to sixth form with my IT knowledge, and then make videos on computers, and it just like transforms like that. When in actual fact, I got then like, you know, you need two Bs in English, and I got a B in language and a D in literature because I wasn't very applicable in school. But yeah, I got that as the course mainly through the passion of actually wanting to do media, because most people that do media don't ever end up in anything related to media. They just it's kind of a DOS subject.
What do people like? Why is it a DOS subject?
I think it's just if you're not passionate about it, it's easy to just kind of do it and get a grade from it, I think.
What did you find? What was the passion for you?
I just knew that I was there because I actually wanted to do this as a career. When I could look at, like, I had like, if I wasn't passionate about doing film or anything like that, and I was on a media course, maybe I'd have let the things people say about, oh, you're just doing it for like a DOS degree. I was like, well, I'm actually doing it for a purpose. Like people that like maybe did science and maths and another science at sixth form, or like would look down on you for doing a media degree or something. Not degree, but I did get a degree. But I mean, like at sixth form, getting the A levels or whatever. But it's just an easy subject to get through it, really, if you want to skim through something without.
So from that and then college,
That was really shit. I don't know if that was a good point or not. That.
we'll just go back and edit whatever needs to edit. So from going that in college then to going to uni, how long did I didn't do uni. I just went straight in the army from 16, so I don't really know the pathways and what you need or anything. So
I did a year at sixth form, dropped out to the first year, did 2 years at college in Preston. That was 4 hours of the bus every day to Preston and back.
is sixth form not college?
It doesn't have to be. Not around here. Like in Preston, I don't think any of the schools really have sixth forms. Here, every school basically has a sixth form. Then we've also got like Lancaster Morecambe College across the road, and we've got Preston College, obviously in Preston. But you sixth forms around here are just A levels.
Right.
Whereas for us at college, you'd get like diplomas or like trades and stuff like that, as well as A levels.
So at this stage then, when you go into uni, what type of like content, or what was you still doing the parkour, or had you moved on to other films or making other stuff?
I didn't make loads when I was actually in college. No, so when I didn't make loads when I was in university, I was very much into the gym. This is when I was a couple of years into starting strongman then. But like I wasn't, like the camera that I had when I was in uni was the same camera I had in college, but I didn't think it was very good, so I didn't really like making stuff on it. It was like a little Canon 600D, which was it 600? I think it's a couple 100D. That kind of got like, I grew out of it very quickly. I was like, I'm not really happy with the quality of this. I used it for a couple of little bits, but I didn't shoot loads of stuff in uni. One of the things I did shoot in uni was my first Giants Live in third year. I asked my friend that had already got in there. I said, "Can you get me into Giants? I want to film this for my dissertation." He asked Colin Bryce. Colin let me in, and I've just never left Giants Live since.
That was a right time, right place type thing then. Because I do always wonder, because I see these people that have basically jobs that they love, like they're doing the hobby and jobs, and I think, how have you got there? Like, it must be a little bit of right time, right place stuff for some.
I like saying luck is where preparation meets opportunity.
Yeah.
Because there are people that love strongman just as much, if not more, than I do, but had they been put in my position and presented that opportunity, might not have been ready to take it. Yeah. But I already had years of experience of making videos. It wasn't like I was learning on the job. I was obviously still learning on the job to this day, but I'm at a level now where when I learn something, it's pushing me to a new height, not getting me up to like a base level of like industry standard. So
just rewind a little bit of getting into strongman, because what was it, like 10 years ago now? Or was it even earlier, slightly earlier?
10, 11, yeah. I started uni in 2014 and I was already doing strongman by then. So
because it definitely wasn't very widestream back then. How did you find your way into strongman?
there's a local gym around here called Saltaire there's a council facility and that used to be the hub of North Strongman, basically. A fellow called Ben France, my best mate's stepdad, used to run all the Northern qualifiers, England's strongest man over 105s. This is where the guy Ben that was the manager at the gym, he got Shane into it and Missy Systems. I think between the two of them, he got Hicksy into it, and they just fostered a huge community of strongman in the northwest. That's why, like, we're sat in Hicksy's old gym now, we're next to Josh's gym. Hicksy's got a new gym 4 minutes down the road. There's just like 4 places you can train strongman within a 4-mile drive around here, which is kind of unheard of.
Yeah. That Ben, actually, I met him up here, and Josh was saying he's like the OG of strongman, but he never said like how it come about. So
he was at Masters OSG this year.
Yeah, well,
when I
was training here, we had a couple of sessions and got to meet him there. Nice guy, and spoke to him over there, and obviously done third, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he's a good lad, Ben.
Yeah, he was a beast. So yeah, that is quite like I'd obviously heard of strongman at that age just because of the telly thing, but I never knew about lightweight strongman, and I don't even know where and when lightweight strongman come about.
It was already kicking around then, because that was like I knew of it straight away because Shane was there, and I knew Shane had done the 90 kilo strongman. Yeah,
I've listened to some of his stories, and he's when he's talked about how far it's gone back. So, yeah, but I just never heard of it. It mustn't. I don't think it was around much. Slightly down. Well, I'm not going to say down south, but like the Merseyside, Cheshire way. I've never really come across it.
There's not really a lot in Manchester either. There's a gym in Manchester called Olympic Sport Gym, and they used to run a lot of a guy called Mark Clegg and his family own it, and he was a Commonwealth Games weightlifter, and him and like Delwar McQueen got into strongman. I think they were both popping up like 200 kilo axles and stuff.
So, did you compete when you was 18, or was you just training it with?
I think my first comp was 2014. Yeah, me and Curtis Cusimano went down to Luton and Shane actually for our first timers camp. Only comp I've had as well, where they had to you have to self-load your farmers, which is a bit stupid.
Self-load your farmers?
Yeah. You have to run a certain 10 meters, put some plates on, and then run some more meters. Been a bane of my life ever since that event.
I still remember a point at England when we was doing it last year, where I think you'd done about 15 meters like speedy fast, and then put it down, and I can't remember who was like shouting. You had to pick it up like dead loud, and you just stopped and was like, "All right, calm down."
Is it England's last year?
Yeah. I can't remember who it was shouting.
I don't know that well. I watched the video the other day, and I was trying to see how fast it took to do the 20 meters at 1:30.
It was pretty speedy. Yeah.
The first half of it's all right. I did it for 2 sets of 20 meters the other day, so it's progress.
So it's coming on.
I'm looking forward to doing that event in comp now, because I want redemption every time I do it now.
What's your next comp you've got coming up?
The Northern qualifiers, yeah.
Is it in that?
No, but it's in the England's that Luke's doing. 120 for distance, max distance.
Are they doing the same as the 80s, where they've got sandbag as well, or is it just farmers?
They've got a sandbag over a bar.
Because there's a couple of slight differences between the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, I've not looked at the 80s events, to be honest.
Yeah, the 80s is...
I think it'll be similar, though, I think.
Yeah, but I think there's definitely differences. The 80s is 110 farmers for 10 metres, and then pick a 110 sandbag up, and then 10 metres, and then 110 farmers.
And then the round of that, yeah. Brutal events. Leeds loves them events, doesn't he?
Yeah. I think last year at the qualifiers we had 110 or 120 for distance, didn't we?
That was at Bob's Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That no one went to.
Yeah.
My first podium, that.
Yeah.
Out of 4 people.
Yeah, I remember you chasing me quite a lot, to be honest.
I remember you beating me on the yoke over the sandbag over yoke as well. I was like,
zero something.
You went from fumbling the bag at the other Northerns to.
Yeah.
I was like, this is my event, this one.
Yeah.
You beat me by a fraction.
It took me a lot to. I'm the same as you, but with yoke. To be honest, I don't understand how people like Badger and stuff and Josh. They just seem to move a yoke like it's effortless, and to me, I just can't seem to progress like anywhere near, I think, the standard I need to be. And even if you look at some of the comps I've done recently, I don't know if it's meant to be, but there's been no yoke in them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll take yoke any day of the week over just about every event. Until it starts getting over mid-300s, that's when I need to actually train for it.
Yeah, I've literally, I'd say in the last year, I've just got over 300, which is, I think, below the standard they should be at for, especially, definitely 90s, I think 80s is a little bit over 300, isn't it? It's not major.
I think it was 320 or something. It was like £700 at OSG for 80s in 2021.
Yeah.
And 22.
Yeah, with the cards, yeah. So it is a...
When I did my first session at Saltaire Ben France over 10 years ago, my first yoke then was, I did a 240, grinded that out.
Did you?
Yeah, I was like, okay. I had no reference for that back then. But it was fun. And very heavy and very like just like stomping through the floor.
Yeah, yeah,
Not actually like running with it.
yeah. So did you start then? You said before that you was going into gyms and filming. Was it comps or people training or
No,
just
not before that.
Well,
That was from 2018 when I started with the Official Strongman.
oh, right, okay.
That was my job at Official Strongman, was just making content for the website.
So from 18, 19, 20s, what was you doing?
I wasn't really doing anything towards I was in the university for it, and I knew I still wanted to go towards that. I just filmed that. I assumed I'd end up like in LA in the film industry or in Hollywood. Like I didn't know much kind of outside of that, and I had prospects that were trying to line up. I nearly went to Canada for a little bit between my years in uni, but never materialised. And I just it was when I left uni, I got a part-time job. Well, it could have been a full-time job. I started on the Monday, got fired on the Thursday with a little data entry admin bullshit thing, and then it was after that I bought my own camera and just said, "Fuck it, I'm going freelance."
How did you get fired? What for?
Just he said I was slow or something. Too many toilet breaks or whatever.
Was it farmers? Was it?
No, I'm fast. It's just the grip.
Yeah, yeah. So when did you have for filming a passion for anything else? Obviously, it's your passion for strongman and filming and photography has come together now. But before filming strongman, did you have a passion for filming anything else?
There was never like a particular subject that I enjoyed over anything else. It was just I liked the process of making videos, and I always enjoyed editing. Now editing's a bit of a bit in my life because it consumes all my time.
Yeah.
So I want to work on offloading a lot of that, but I just enjoyed the process of making videos. I always enjoyed that, going on like YouTube, learning tutorials, learning how to do After Effects, creating graphics, and how to tell a story better. I remember when I first started with Giant Slide, knew I could make I had the confidence in myself to make a cool like highlight video, but even like 2021, 2020, I didn't have the confidence to be able to make a documentary to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting down with I'd like go for a shoot and I'd come down and sit to edit it. And I was like, I don't know how to edit this. So just every day, the process of just trying to get better. From now, my goal is to get onto Netflix. And I know that like I can see something on there, watch something I make, and I can see the kind of difference in level that I've still got to catch up on.
That sort of statement is on your Instagram, and I truly believe it as well. I've seen a few people put statements, and I think it's a big sort of accountability to put it on your Instagram.
Yeah.
But I actually believe you'll do it because I've watched some of your stuff, and not just blowing smoke up your ear, but I have said it before we've done this. And I'll move on to a point now that's in my head.
Before you get to that, I just want to say that for the Instagram bio thing, that's because I posted it on my grid the other day, but I posted that on YouTube in like 2009, 2008, saying, one day you'll be reading my name off the TV in your lounge. Like that's still on my YouTube channel now. And then by 2018, I'd done that with Giants, got my name in the credits. I was like, oh, that thing I manifested when I was 13 came true. Yeah. So this is just like the next progression of that. And you can't, if you don't quit, you can't fail. So if you keep working towards something, you'll end there eventually, or you just die trying, which is what my process is going to be.
Yeah, I'm going through a bit of that at the minute where I'm trying and working, and I feel like I'm crawling forward like a millimetre in the business I'm doing now with this brand. But I keep saying things like that to myself where you just got to keep putting one foot in front of the other, and like I'm give it months at the minute. I mean, you need to give it years, don't you, really?
Pretty much, yeah. It's just a process of in making videos, making sure every video is better than the last. Lifting weights, it's just reps. Just is your 1,000th deadlift going to be better than your first deadlift? Of course it is. So just do more reps.
The point I was going to say before I forget it, but it's probably should be a bit later down, is the film that you did make that I watched.
Under 80s,
yeah. So that's the most prominent one I can remember you doing. I'm sure you've done others before then, but where did the idea of that come from? Of making that for the under 80s and about them sort of 3, 4, 5 athletes?
It started a lot because...
and when did it start as well?
Well, 2019, I worked for Official Strongman, but I didn't go to OSG. The guy that did go, we never got his footage. So then I had the footage of Eddie's camera girl, Hannah. And there just wasn't any under 80 content in there. Like I went to make reels or something. Like I went to shoot Tommy Lavelle in his home gym in Brooklyn in 2020. And I had no footage of him like going into that because there wasn't any recorded. But I was like, there was a whole category there that was like got missed out. So until I started putting love on the under 80s, they weren't really getting any. And now they get plenty of love. And I'm not saying if I trailblazed that or not, but I helped in my own way put spotlight on them because I felt like they deserved it, because it's a great class. If you slip up by, like, you obviously competed in it this year, and you know how tough it is to be at the top level of an 80 show. But if you, in some of the classes, you can slip up and you can come like 5th and 6th and still win, like in multiple events. Whereas the 80s, I feel like if you slip up on one event, then you're just done for, and someone else is just going to clean sweep it.
Yeah.
The project, that particular one came when Luke and Josh started doing the Brits under 80s in 2021. I knew there was a qualification spot going for OSG, so I thought I'd go there and film that. And then just like I'd already made stuff like that kind of for Giants. That was more of a post-show thing more than a pre-show thing. But I filmed with Dean and the twins before OSG, went to OSG, filmed the comp, and then stayed in America afterwards and filmed with Tommy and Ricky. And then just put together I just wanted to tell this. I wanted to do it with more classes, but it took me like, from first recording to publishing on YouTube, that was about 13 months of making that video.
Yeah, I remember you saying. So is this all personal stuff? Like, no one's come to you and said, "Can you make this?" This is just ideas that you've had, and
pretty much. Yeah, yeah, I'm fortunate for the job. I don't have a lot of creative restrictions. I mean, when I get told to something, I'll make it. When I get told to do something, or told to, like, asked to make something, I'll go and make it. But it's very rare. Usually I've just been able to, like, right, this is what I want to make and work on. It's usually for skills that I want to develop as a person or as like a filmmaker. And if I know I want to be working towards Netflix, then the videos I want to make are going to be things that led me to learn the skills towards that. So storytelling, better editing, and then just the continual process of how can I tell that story better? How can I edit the story better?
yeah, obviously I'm only just getting into it, and what I notice is that I'll do something, film something, edit something, and I think that looks really good, like really professional, and then I'll just watch something, say for example of yours, and it looks much more quality, but I can't always tell why.
Yeah.
I'm like, why does that look so much better when that's where I think when you're good, but you can't always tell why. Do you know what I mean? I just can't tell the difference sometimes of what you're doing, but it definitely looks 100 times better, but I can't understand why.
Without knowing exactly what you're talking about, the two things off the top of my head that it could be, first of all, is lighting.
Yeah.
Like if you're talking about like an interview, then like personally for me, I've improved my lighting a lot over the last couple of years. It's just you develop an eye for it. Like imagine if you watch me do a log press and then you do a log press, I think he makes that look
be well better, wouldn't it?
It was like, why is this like? Even, as a new strongman, you might not understand why their technique is so much better and what makes them able to lift more weight. But then when you develop the eye for seeing, like, you know, like if someone's new to the gym and they pull a deadlift and like, oh, you can go heavier than that, but they don't. That's the heaviest they've ever been. But you can judge by seeing them 1,000 deadlifts, like based on your bar speed, you could go double the weight. You'd still be able to pull it. It's just having that trained eye to see to know what you're looking for.
I like these analogies of strongman to explain stuff. It works well.
That's just the only way I know I can talk to you. It's a language we both share.
Yeah.
For the lighting though, like literally, the shooting into the shadow is the difference between professional and amateur. Like if you watch any single film, any single like well-produced TV show, not soaps because they have like top-down flat lighting, so every shot's kind of the same. But for a film, they'll always be shot into the shadow side of someone's face.
Yeah, which
if you watch Diary of a CEO podcast, he does not do that, and it annoys me every time.
Yeah, well,
who's set this lighting up for this podcast, and why is it the wrong way around?
Get onto them, so you can do it better.
I've shared it a couple of times.
I forgot to ask this before, actually. Did you have any, when you was going, say, through college or uni, did you have any sort of influences or people you looked up at in the industry you wanted to be in?
A lot of YouTubers. There was back in the day, it was like Corridor Digital and Freddie Wong. I don't think Freddie Wong kicks about much doing videos anymore. Corridor still do, but they were just making like crazy animations. Doesn't seem like the right word. Like VFX stuff, loads of animated stuff. I am After Effects stuff, and just like creating these crazy like things. So that was a lot of my inspiration when I was younger. The YouTube scene.
Do you know the uni stuff and getting your quals out of that? Would you say has that, like when you said then about the lighting or the last few years, or it took me years, I thought, well, do you not learn that in uni? Would you not just know that is how you do it and that is just how you do it?
I mean, I didn't learn it in uni. Skill-wise, my degree can probably come and go.
Right.
It's the opportunities that presented to me and like obviously the personal development it takes to move to a different city and go through university for a few years is more the influence and impact it's had on my life rather than like what I actually learned. I did a 3D stereoscopic film production, which is literally like 2 cameras, mirror, 3D rig at uni. So it wasn't like a general 2D media. So it's a bit of a more niche degree.
Yeah.
But no, like honestly, it's because I didn't make that many videos then, and I felt like I made more well-produced videos when I was younger in college. There's a couple of my old college videos, and I look back at them now thinking it's a bit cringy and embarrassing, but it's actually kind of well made and like it's well composed and it's thought out and stuff like that. That's another I was going to say. The difference between what mine and yours could be, they got lighting and then composition. If you've got kind of like a wonky composition or it's not, it just doesn't feel right to the viewer. Like you can't always explain it, but you can look at something and think that doesn't feel right. Like if we were shooting this and then you could see like up to there on me, but you could see that. Sorry, you could see. I hit the microphone. You can see up to there on me, but you can see like all this dead space up there. It's just like why? What does that mean? It's just amateur kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And that's without knowing what you were talking about with the difference in quality. That's
Like I said, I don't know. Sometimes I'll look at your stuff or someone else's stuff and I think it looks better, but I don't actually know why.
I think that as well when I see other people's stuff. So it's just
maybe
you're always like it again with strongman. You can look at someone of the open weights or something and see they are clearly just a different level to me.
Yeah.
Just it's all levels to it, really.
So well, I'm just not exactly saying so. Before we move on to going into sort of Giants Live and that, we will touch how you got into that. But as we started it with lights, we might as well carry on what does make a good setup of podcasting or filming. Like obviously we spoke about lights, and I know you're going to speak about audio and camera. But if you could give them an order, what's the most important
For a podcast? Audio, good microphones first and foremost. Probably between microphones and like cameras, I'd say content, because you can have a podcast without any video on it, so like it's actually not that important. Lighting and making it look good. If people are going to watch it, you want it to look good. In my opinion, that's what I like to do. But yeah, audio is the king. You can't listen you can't listen to something that doesn't sound good, and you can watch something that looks bad as long as it sounds okay. But you can't listen to something that sounds bad and looks like I've got that wrong word. You can watch something that looks like shit and sounds bad. No, you can watch something that looks like shit but sounds good. But you can't watch something that looks amazing and sounds shit.
Yeah.
Because you're just like, I just can't listen to this.
Yeah. Well, we made a good analogy before about the radio.
Yeah. If you're driving down the motorway in the car and you've got there's only 2 radio stations that work, one that dips in and out is really crackly and one is just pristine audio. You'd rather have no audio on than just like it's one that cuts out all the time because you just can't get into it.
Have you got to shoot out one?
Well, I've got my meter at 2, but it's 1:15 now.
1:15 now. What time do you want to wrap it?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can do it till 10. I can do this here and come back for it later or something.
Yes, I'll
just 20-30 minutes. Or
yes, I'll just make sure I cover stuff well on a little thing. I'll just check where I was going. I'll cover it like just going into Giants Live and that because I think a lot of people want to hear about that as well. I am covering a lot of shit that I had on here. Okay, yeah. So before we get the strongman going into Giants Live, I just want to know how your skills have developed from when you first started. Where would you say you've developed the most? And from you said that like a lot of your content was good back then, but where have you developed and changed your approach to filming?
even saying that now, like looking back, I can watch my footage from then and think that isn't good. But at the time, I was confident in being able to shoot something that looks nice, rather than being able to edit a story. For
what
me,
makes it not good?
just the composition generally. If it's like poorly composed, in terms of like you've got the rule of thirds, you've got your golden ratio, you've got eye lines, you've got all this like things you got to consider when you can put a shot together. Focal length, but like I said before, like if you've got a shot and there's just like someone's right near to the frame and you've got all that dead space there, it's like, well, why don't you just point the camera so they're a bit more in the middle? That's not really stuff that I learned during that time. It's something it's got to be a bit better. Where I've learned the most is things like putting up lights. I didn't own lights back then. Putting up lights, how to use lights, setting up lights so it looks nice, and then just editing is such a editing is not something like you just learn, and it's like you learn, like you can learn the tools to edit on Premiere. Like anyone, I believe, can learn that. But there's a difference. There's a huge difference between being a good editor and knowing how to edit. Like there's still levels between me and people I watch on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and like obviously top dollar films. But for me, I've got better at everything: storytelling, editing, filming, framing, composing, asking questions, interviewing, knowing when to film, knowing when to not film, instead of just shooting everything, just like being more selective with my shots because I know what I'm actually going to use in the final piece. Got better at making videos on YouTube that have better retention, so people watch it for longer and more, and they click on it more and it gets more views. And my goal for this year is to try and get 1 million views on a YouTube video, on a long form YouTube video. Things I need for that, I think like a 10% click through rate and hopefully somewhere in like the 40% retention range. I get about 30% on average at the minute,
Right.
which is about, I top out about 6 minutes, no matter how long the video is. So I need to work on that.
Where do you find your knowledge for developing yourself then? Is it all self-taught now? Or, well, from experience and
Everything, I mean, even despite the fact I went to sixth form college and university to study essentially media, what I've learned on them courses is still like so insignificant compared to the work I've done on myself. Say if you had go back to the gym analogy for you, if you join a gym and then you train 4 days a week for the next 10 years, but then for the first year or two, you had a PT once a week, like they'll teach you things in that small time, but you're still doing 10 times more work outside of those sessions on your own, working on stuff yourself. Like if you film every set and then look back at it and think, okay, that was wrong, and do that again, it's just that same process, just for editing and filming.
So do you think someone can do that then without all the qualifications, take themselves, like self-taught?
Well, I know people that are doing it, yeah, they don't need qualifications. Like if you can make a video that looks good, a client doesn't care if you've got a degree to make it or not.
That's quite different to a normal, as I say, a normal job. It is different to when you look for a job because most of it is degree, or whereas this industry could be by, well, you can see me content or you can see evidence of quality.
When there's like a risk involved, obviously you get a risk in filming, but like you have to do like risk assessment forms. I mean, like if you're a plumber or an electrician, you probably have to be certified to say like I can do this job and I've got this qualification to certify that I can do it safely. I'm not going to blow your house up or something. But for art, anything artistic, no one cares about if you can make the thing that people want to be made, then you don't need to be qualified for anything.
Yeah, I just had another question for you then.
I don't think Tarantino went to film school. He worked in essentially a Blockbuster DVD store, and he just wrote films, and he's Tarantino.
Yeah. I bring it up because I said to you before, I was speaking to a lad this morning, and I was asking him, because he had his own media company, do you have any qualifications? And he said no, and he looks like he's doing quite well. I'd only just seen him this morning, and it's something that I've been enjoying myself. I've only dipped my toe into the start of it, but I can see the enjoyment out of it. So we'll move on to coming into Official Strongman and Giants Live. Where was the start of that? You obviously already done a dissertation for him, so you had the contacts loosely, I'd say. Would you say?
Yeah, my first Giants Live was Brits in 2017 in Doncaster Dome.
Was that your dissertation or was full?
That was for dissertation 2017. I was still in uni then. I did filmed Brits that year and Europe's that year, and then it was the year later Colin asked me to be a content creator for them.
Is this as like a contractor, like a self-employed? So this is your business, and did you approach them and say, "Can I come and?"
No, at the time, no. I didn't know there was an opportunity there for it. Colin called me up and said, like, they saw the skills and the passion I had for strongman and filming, and thought I'd be a good fit for what they wanted to do. But I forgot what the rest of your question was. But no, I mean, I had a friend that wormed his way in there earlier, like the year before, so he was there when he pulled 500. Sadly, I missed that. That'd have been insane. I was there the year after that, but he helped me get in. He was my like little foot in the door.
So take us through a show. Like what does I think it starts a couple of days before. So take me through what an experience of a weekend show would be. For example, Britain's Strongest Man this weekend.
Britain's Strongest Man this weekend. Today's a Thursday. Tomorrow's obviously Friday. I'll be driving up to Sheffield in the morning. I'll be getting my interview room set up, backdrop down, lights up, microphones on. I'll be interviewing some of the top boys. I'll be getting social media content out of them. I'll be getting, in terms of like interview questions, I ask them a question I can clip up and put on the gram. And there's other stuff that I use for long form YouTube content after the fact. That's mainly all a Friday, filming that, editing those together. Me and a lad called Jordan will be doing that this weekend. And then Saturday is a bit more chill, maybe get some edits out from the interviews or something, put some pieces together. Obviously, there's an athlete meet on Friday. In terms of my job, I was giving you, but in terms of the whole weekend, like the athletes rock up on Friday, we have the team meet, like the show meeting or the rules meeting. I think obviously, yeah, the rules. We have the rules meeting. All the athletes there. Darren lays out all the rules for them. Magnus, as head ref, lays out rules for them. Always fun, kind of being involved in them. Just like I'm kind of part of the furniture now. I remember when I first started, it was like I'd be there, like at Europe's my first one. You get like, I don't know if Loz was there at that time, might have been injured, but like Eddie Hall's there, Big Thor's there, Mateusz is there, like you got all these, and I'm just there like the new guy. But now I've been there longer than a lot of the athletes now, so I don't get like nervous or anything in those situations. I used to be scared, like going up to people with my camera, like asking them questions, or like I'd never do it because I was a bit too nervous for it. But now I just put the camera in everyone's face.
Do you get a role to, like, will they set out and give you any direction, or it's just you've got free reign to go and get what you believe is entertaining and what the people want to see?
Now that I make a lot of my own content after the fact, I'm shooting purposefully for what I am going to create. Before I was doing that, Colin would come to me, like I was more of a supplementary to the TV show guys. Like you've got the main Channel 5 camera crew there that film more like the TV shots, and my task back in the day would be to go and film the stuff that they aren't filming. So it was a lot more behind the scenes stuff. It was the guys the guys warming up, the guys in the training room, the guys walking around, the crowd, stuff like that.
And where does that end up?
On the TV show.
Oh, that goes on the TV show as well. Yeah. So you'd contribute to Channel 5's. Right, okay.
Yeah, I've done for years. My first year or two, not so much because my footage wasn't good enough really to make the cut. I'd watch it and think, none of my shots made it in this year. And then the next year I was like, that's my shot, that's my shot, that's my shot. And there's me in the background.
So have you gone over to World's Strongest Man with Channel 5? Or...
No, not yet.
No.
I would like to be at the Worlds this year. I'm probably going to be there whether I'm paid to or not, because I'm sick of watching it from home on a spreadsheet.
The bit I've never understood is the official strongman and Giants Live, the companies together, are they owned by the same, or are they, like, is it Giants Live the main one and it's official strongman? I don't understand the link between them.
Darren and Colin own both Giants and official strongman. Eddie used to be involved in official strongman, but he's not anymore. But I mean, strongman as a sport wouldn't exist now without Colin. Colin's been involved in World's Strongest Man, or strongman in general, since like the last 20, 30 years or something. Just about as long as I've been alive, Colin's been involved in the top level of strongman. And he's the one that's helped get it to the point where it is now. Official strongman now is, for the weight classes, it's the World Championships, and for the open weight, they've given a clear and direct opportunity to get to World's Strongest Man. Because until 2017, 2018, when they did the first OSG qualifier, it was just murky, like muddy waters on how do you actually get to World's Strongest Man. Or you've got to do the right show in front of that person, and then you can put a name in, maybe get to this show, and it's like a lot of guesswork. You have to just like do loads of shows everywhere to hopefully get your name out. Whereas now you qualify official strongman games, and then that year you can be, or within the next 12 months, you can be in a World's Strongest Man final like Matt Ragg and Jaco Strubenkel did. Half of the guys in the World's Strongest Man final last year came through OSG.
Yeah, you could see there was a clear path this year when you watched World's Strongest Man at Christmas. You could see that they were actually mentioning official strongman games, like this athlete come through official strongman games.
That's Colin on the live on the commentary talking about that.
Yeah, and you can see
I picked up on that. You could hear it a lot. Yeah, every time I hear it, obviously it's like when someone says your own name. Obviously, for you, we're both called Joe. So every time you hear Joe, you're like, what's that? So every time someone mentions official strongman, I kind of clock onto it. But yeah,
it's like it's clearly trying to now promote lightweight strongman. Yeah, I can see there's a big.
Where it's all Giants. There's a kind of a pyramid. It's not a pyramid scheme, but like the pyramid of importance, maybe, or the structure of the kind of companies are like official strongman feeds into Giants Live up to World's Strongest Man. So it's all kind of, we're all, I don't know, structured pyramid. It's a big family, basically. Whereas other federations aren't involved in that. This is like our one thing, and we're all kind of.
How would you describe what official strongman is?
It's the pinnacle of lightweight strongman.
I've heard that line before.
Yeah.
You got any more to
Official
say?
strongman is the pinnacle of lightweight strongman. It's the World Championships. It's it's an opportunity, it's an equal opportunity for literally everyone from every corner of the globe to become a world champion.
Why do you think it is? Well, I suppose it's not just now, but I feel like there's a greater push for lightweight strongman at the minute. I feel like this year, last year, that everyone's sort of in the strongman world, in the lightweight scene, are certainly trying to bump it up a lot now.
I mean, I can't speak for them because, like, I'm not the one that's putting on shows. I just make videos, and I'd much rather be doing what I'm doing than organising any logistics like that. But you just got to thank people that actually care about that sort of sport that have now, like, if they get presented with the opportunity or they see an opportunity or they run comp like Luke and Steve from GBA, like they run comps in the gym, so that for them it's like a natural progression to like, okay, we'll put on a comp for this qualifier and then we'll move the comp from the gym into a sports hall or into a venue of whatever kind. And it's just for them it's natural progression, like it was for me getting better at lights and editing. But people are just passionate about the sport. I think the passion's kind of always been there, but like it's been a slow momentum, and it feels like it does feel like it's speeding up at the minute. Like more lightweight shows, more clear pathways.
Yeah, I know you've been modest then, but like along with others, you are sort of capturing moments of these shows and giving them to the people to see. So I think it's a combination of both, isn't it? People creating the moments and you capturing the moment and the emotion and stuff like that. So I think,
like I said before, like with the official Strongman Games thing, like there was just nothing for me. Like I went through someone's footage. Hannah wasn't there for Hannah Eddie's girl. Wasn't there for the videographer, not girl. Hannah Eddie's videographer wasn't there for like capturing the whole event. She was there for him as like his YouTuber. So she had no what's the word? Like she had no reason to film every single class, every single athlete. But there was a trend that like I wanted to find a clip of somebody from a certain class, and they're just like that class, like they just like weren't in there building at that time. And I was like, this class is like really underrepresented. So for me, that's where a lot of my 80s push came from. And I watched Drive to Survive a couple of years ago. I think this is after I've started doing this, but I like as researcher, like watching like Netflix docs, stuff like that. And I never cared about Formula One. I watched Drive to Survive. You get invested in the characters, and all of a sudden you care about the sport more. That's what my aim of this is. I want to. And that's why you asked about a couple of people instead of like the whole class, maybe whatever. It's easier to focus on a couple of the main guys, tell their story, try and hope people get like if I can tell the story well enough and enough people watch it, enough people will get invested into that athlete or character, and then they'll watch this comp to see how they get on.
yeah,
And then they get invested in the rest of the comp. It doesn't start like, oh, I care about strongman, I want to watch this, or I love this athlete, I'm going to watch it for them, and then they see another athlete they like, and then they learn more.
yeah. I can definitely see how that works, and it worked with me. Obviously, going to do OSG myself, I watched a lot of previous OSGs to pick up what I could. And you don't even have to go back that far where it wasn't that good to watch, to be honest. It looked like just the camera was far away, and that was it really. I think there was some commentary on it, but I didn't want to watch it, and it wasn't until maybe 2019, 20, 21 where you could definitely see the progress in more up-close shots and more of the filmmaking and picking out certain athletes to interview and follow through the show, basically.
Yeah, that wasn't there in 2019. It didn't happen in 2020 because of COVID.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
2021 was the first year I went, and that was the first year we had like a roving cam that was getting up close. It was just like static wide shots before that.
Yeah, you can definitely see the difference. And it like we mentioned, that film, that I've watched that about 3 or 4 times now. But that was like when I was going myself, and it hyped me to go, to be honest, and that's why I watched it.
Did that change the way you see like a Ricky Pancanaban? Obviously, like the twins and Dean, you'll have maybe come across in the maybe you haven't that much.
I knew the twins.
You will do now when you do like the UK under 18.
Yeah,
like
I knew the twins before. I'd never met Dean. I knew who Dean
Tommy,
was.
Tommy didn't compete that year. That's why I singled out Ricky for that one.
Yeah.
Does that like change how you perceive them? Like, oh, that's the guy from that video, or that's like the under 18 champ, and he's like, it kind of like you've built like a mental picture of them in your mind. Whereas if that content never existed, you wouldn't have any like preconceived notions of who that person is, or
Yeah, it did, because I was so invested into what I was doing. They were like the people I was looking up at, and now I got to know more about them and the personality. So when you then see them, you're not so much starstruck, but you know what I mean. You have an admiration. That's the guy that I seen on the documentary, and now I'm now competing against the same guy, which is quite like a surreal thing.
that's cute.
Yeah, I'm trying to not sound too sort of like frilly about it, but I did. Like, obviously Tommy didn't compete this year, but Ricky did, and like he was obviously a major part of that film. Um,
It was champ, yeah.
yeah, so when I seen him, it was like a big admiration. And if it wasn't for that documentary, I probably wouldn't have thought that of him. He was
No,
just,
he's kind of he keeps himself to himself really.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of like university. So he's like doing a biomedical engineering degree or something. So he's got like a lot of
and he's
university
still
work
fairly
experience.
new into the sport, wasn't it? Wasn't that? He just
When he won, it was only his third comp.
Yeah, which
So
is
I mean, he's done 3 OSGs now, so he's a bit of a veteran almost.
yeah. So we've covered this before, actually. I think before we started this, but about choosing people to talk to, and I'll let you say who you choose throughout the shows. How do you pick them?
It depends on what show we're going for. Like a Giants Live this weekend, like you know what people's strengths are, you know who the top dogs are. And official strongman games, there's 400 athletes. I mean, 12 is. I can't cover 12 athletes really in like a Giants Live. I'm not going to interview all of them and film all of them at once because like you filming one person, you miss another person. OSG, that's like just on 10-fold or 20-fold, whatever. So I'll generally, if I know people, then I know their strengths, I know what to look out for them on. And then that and being a previous champion is kind of all I have to go on. All I have to go off.
If there was someone with a big character but wasn't a winner, do you still sort of focus on them for the entertainment value because you know that people want to see that person?
If there's going to do something fun, yeah. But like you have to know that like if that comes in under the category of me knowing them.
Yeah.
If they seem like a big character and I don't know them, maybe I'll go and introduce myself or ask them a question or just like focus on a little bit more, and I'll know them by the end of the weekend. And then the next year when I come back to see them again, I'll be focusing on them because I know them. Like the more I go and the more people I meet, the more chance it gives me to like, okay, this is an interesting person. But there's so many people from OSG that like I've seen Instagram and think I'd never even saw you once.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many people there just on a conveyor that you lose like, but then you don't know people and there's so many people there, you focus on the people you do know. There's just so many faces, you just can't know them all.
What did you think of OSG just gone then, the setup? Because I remember seeing you beforehand and you was like, have you seen it? I said, no, not yet. And you said, it's very like Giants Live. So then...
It was the first time it's been in like a full arena. It wasn't a convention like hall floor in all the years I've been to it in Daytona before that. So to see it in an arena with like big seats around it, it did feel more Giants Livey. I loved it. I thought it was amazing. The setup was class. Charleston was a bit of a bum town, but other than like where it was, everything was amazing. I thought it was brilliant. I thought the comp ran really well. Apart from the first day was a bit slow, but that's something that seems to happen every year at the minute. Last year was a hurricane. Well, the year before last was a hurricane, but production was on point. The big screen, commentators, ADL were there doing the live stream. I wasn't on the live stream this year, so I got to mess around and do more social media stuff and get this. Because sometimes I have to sacrifice getting a good shot for something that. Sacrifice a good shot for social media or a documentary after the fact for a good shot for a live stream, which are two different kind of things.
Have you still got work to do with OSG as in getting content out? Do you continually trickle it out till next year's, or did you put that to bed and move on?
There's a lot of stuff I want to create. I want to kind of what I did for the under 80s. I want to make something similar to that this year for the Open Women's, because I've noticed when we post a live stream to YouTube, that class gets the most views of any of the other classes. Because it's like that is their world title. Like there's no woman stronger than Rebecca Roberts at the top. Whereas like Rihanna Lovelace, obviously Rebecca Roberts is stronger than her. So the weight classes, they were soon to get as much traction as like the open weights because they are just the apex predators of the strongman, basically. So I want to make a long form documentary on them and see how that does.
I might have to edit this bit out, but did I tell you I got a gun pulled on me in Charleston?
No.
Yeah, me, Josh, Steph, and a couple of South Africans got a gun pulled on us twice by the same lad.
Why?
It was after day two. We were out for a few drinks in this bar and it chucked out about 2 or 3. And this lad said something. It was only me that caught it. Everyone else was quite drunk. And he said, imagine coming all this way over here and then disappearing and no one knows where you are, and pulled his top up and he had a pistol. Everyone just ignored him, and then I think it annoyed him because everyone was just pissed. Like they didn't care. Do you know what I mean? I just caught him say it, and I was like, oh. And then he got in his car, drove around the block, and I was walking next to this one of the South Africans in the under 105s, and he just pulls up alongside, holds his window down, holds it out to us, and we're just looking at him, and he's just looking at us, and then he drives off. And I look around, I was like,
what the fuck?
I was like, does anyone else see that? And they're like, no. And they're like, you just pulled the gun on us twice. Yeah, crazy.
Weird that.
Yeah.
That's scary. I wouldn't like to be in that situation.
I know. It's only because everyone was half cut that. It was the next day when everyone, it's sort of the realisation come into it.
Yeah. Anything could happen there.
I know, you just think you don't know if you could just pop a shot off because he's
I've got an irrational fear of drive-bys because you never know if it's going to happen to you.
no.
Or like something, some people like mount curves and run over you, like you've always got to check your shoulder.
Well, that was the closest I've been to. What is JS Films?
I'm Joe Schofield. JS Films is me.
So can you work?
Shit answer.
I'll let
So, I
it
mean, that's all. I mean, it's nothing crazy. It's just. I couldn't think of a business name, so.
Do you have to have a business to be at Giants Live? Are you like a self-employed, or are you under Giants Live official strongman?
No, I'm hired self-employed. Like I have to put an invoice in every month, stuff like that.
Right. Okay. So are you available to hire for other companies and that?
Yeah. I know. I don't really have a lot of time because I spend most of it doing editing. But if I get hired for a job, I'll generally take it.
What about like coaching? Do you do any of that for people on helping, like for podcasts or making films or people?
No, Matt McKeegan's. I'm going to do my first course soon. Matt McKeegan does this course for coaches where they learn how to run a coaching business through him. And I'm going to come in on week 4 and do a lesson on marketing, which isn't even anything to do with videos. It's just some of the interest of my marketing stuff. But no, I've dabbled with the thought of dipping into like teaching stuff or putting up a course, but you don't want to be like the 1000th person to teach how to fucking turn the camera on. So I kind of steer away from that. But I also think, like situations like this now, if I was putting content on my Instagram, there's people that, like yourself, that would take value from it, which I always go back and forth in my head between. I was like, is it worth it for that, or can I be bothered doing it? But then I'm editing so much of my other time. I'm going to post content to help this other thing. It's just,
I think you'd be surprised at the amount of people that do sort of take note and absorb what you say, not just you, but for anyone. Like I've had it, not massively, but through Strongman, and when you're posting videos and you think, I'm just posting aimlessly, and then someone will say, it's really inspirational, like what you're doing, and it's motivating. So
there's a film, Catch Me If You Can, I don't know if you've seen it, with DiCaprio.
Yeah.
And the character that was based off, Frank Abagnale, or whatever, when he did a semester teaching like law or something, and then when he was asked how he did it, it was like, you have to be one chapter ahead of the class to like be able to teach them. You just teach them the chapter you've just learned. And that goes for being in any step in, or any point in any career in anything. Like, there is like, the further you get into strongman, you realise, okay, there's some good coaches and some bad coaches, but a bad coach can still be, a subjectively bad coach can still be very valuable to someone that's only just started, because they can give them the foundational knowledge to go on to the next. Like, you don't look down on a primary school teacher just because they're not teaching like an A-level or something. Like, they still provide necessary value to somebody, even though they're at the start of their educational journey.
Where can people, I was going to say, where can people find you? That was not what I was going to ask. What advice would you give for someone starting out, wanting to film or photography?
What advice would I give someone that's going to start out filming or photography? I would say just try and leave self-doubt at the door, and just focus on reps. Don't focus on your like really where you are. Just focus on like, okay, this is what I've made. How can the next thing I make be? How can I improve one thing? You improve one thing over every video, over a long period of time. That's accumulated into a big gain. Done is better than perfect. You can spend years, if you wanted to, labouring over something before you released it. But you could spend a week getting something 90% done, and then you could spend a month getting something an extra like 1% after that. When you might as well, you can just release it at 90% and move on to the next thing.
Before we,
and just that, I'm just trying to learn as much as possible. Continue. You just never can stop learning.
Before we ask where people can find you, have you come across any major challenges or hurdles that you've found difficult to get over to get to where you are now or where you want to be?
I don't feel like I've overcome many hurdles, and I probably have done. Just in the time, it doesn't feel like I've got a big barrier in front of me. I remember like trying to learn how to tell stories and edit stories was the biggest like mental wall I have to face, because like I've got footage in front of me. I'm sat on Premiere. I'm like, okay, I want to make this really cool video, and then I'm sat there like, I don't know how to tell a story. So for me, the process of learning how to tell stories, which I'm still like very much right at the beginning of, in my opinion, that was one of the hardest things I had to come across. Everything else is just like, that like for strongman, it's like if you set a goal of a 300 kilo, 400 kilo deadlift, it's like you don't get hung up when you're stuck on 200. Just like, oh, you might plateau for a couple of weeks or months, and then you break that, and you just keep continually going over time.
Where do you see JS Films going in, and what's the layout of the plan to get to Netflix?
There isn't really a layout of the plan. For me, it's just keep improving. I know that right now, not all of my skills are up to the scratch of a Netflix doc. I could probably film one and get the content for one, hand the editing off to somebody else, and I feel like I'd be confident doing that. Where a couple of years ago, I might not even be confident doing that. But then still, like for me, I still fall down on like story structure. Where JS Films is going to go in the future, whether it's called JS Films, then for me personally, whatever it's called, I would love my own production company and just like instead of just being me on my own, which it has been for my entire career. There's a team of people that can film and edit and like can ideate new documentary ideas or something, and it's just a team of people that can go out and create stuff.
Documentaries.
I prefer documentaries. Yeah, you're telling kind of real life. I wouldn't mind going into like a narrative based, like a film or like a show, or a film, yeah, like a narrative based film that would be in the cinemas. I'd love to do something like that. But for personally, what I want to create them in it is like sports documentaries, telling stories of athletes or like the best athletes in the world and stuff like that.
Why is it? What is it about that appeals to you? That
I was just thinking a couple of years ago, like what am I doing now and where would I like to see it go? And I decided on documentaries and documentaries on athletes, I think, because it's just kind of where my passions personally lie outside of actually filming stuff. I'm into sport, I'm into athletics, I'm into, people like hearing stories. So if I can tell a story that I'm interested in hearing, then other people will be interested in hearing it as well. But for strongman, at the minute, it's more about telling the stories of people that wouldn't otherwise get their story told. For me, it's more rewarding to do a documentary on someone at Official Strongman than it is to do a Giants Live documentary, because the Giants Live would get me more views and I'd feel more accomplished, like getting a couple 100,000 views on YouTube. But if I got the same thing on an Official Strongman documentary, I'd feel so much better because that person was then getting all them views they would never get. Where the Giants Live guys, somebody else, either in Giants Live, can make a video, or like the Arnold or Rogue or something can make a video and they'll get their spotlight. Whereas outside of OSG, athletes don't get a lot of spotlight, so I'm just trying to put it onto them.
Yeah, I'd agree. I don't want to say that appreciate it more, but maybe they would, because, like you said,
I think you do appreciate it more.
Yeah, I'm just
like the open, like from personal experience, you can tell when someone actually appreciates something.
Yeah.
If I do something for somebody, like to be fair, I've done stuff for loads of like OSG guys, and whether they have kept it to themselves, and obviously like over an Instagram message, you don't get full appreciation. There are people that appreciate what you've done more than others, but at the open weight scene, I think that even some of them have appreciated work in the past, but they'll have other people creating stuff for them anyway, because they're well known. It's easy to make something for someone that's well known that is to make somebody well known by making something.
Yeah. Where can people find you if you want to touch base with Joe Schofield?
Get me on literally any social media, any platform where you make a username. I'm Joe Scully on it, just about. Whether literally any. I've used that handle for my entire life, so I'm Joe Scully everywhere. Unless it's you want to find me on JS Films on Instagram, which you can just find me through Joe Scully as well.
I suppose the next time
you can also find me my work on Official Strongman and Giants Live. I'm part of a big team there. I'm not just a small cog in a big machine. But me personally, with Joe Scully, work. If you want to see a lot of my work, go on to Official Strongman and Giants Live in socials.
And I suppose the next time we'll see you working is at Britain's Strongest Man this weekend.
Yeah, I'll be working from tomorrow morning.
And then potentially competing yourself at the Northern Qualifier.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a dicky shoulder at the minute. I can't lock out of it properly, so Axel's not going to be. Axel's the worst one as well. Like a log I can get through because it's neutral, but an Axel's going to be painful on my shoulder. So working through that, hopefully.
How are you feeling about the whole comp this year?
Raw Axel for reps. Not keen on that. It's been good to get away from doing suited deadlifts for a little while because I got sick of getting in the suit every week. What else is there? Stand back to shoulder. Hate that. Such a terrible event. There's no farmers in there. There's no yoke in there, I don't think. And then I'm looking forward to doing another stone run though. Booked up a bit last year.
Just before we finish as well, I didn't ask you, where do you see yourself as an athlete going? What's your goals and aims as an athlete? Where do you think you can reach?
I think if I was to put all my eggs in a basket, I could easily be at Official Strongman Games. Right now, I know I'm not at the level to be a 90 at OSG. Like I could probably compete, I could probably qualify maybe, and then like come in the lower rings of it. But I've got events that I know I'm very good at on a international stage, probably very few. But then my weak events of deadlift and like grip just let me down so many points where I can never be at the top of a comp. For me, I just want to improve my deadlift, get that up to a reasonable level, and I've never won a comp before. So for me as an athlete, I just want to win a comp and then focus on another after that.
Brilliant. So I think we'll end it there. I'd just like to say thanks for giving me your time. I know I spent most of your morning waffling, but it's honestly really appreciated. And I'll see you at the weekend.